That was Republic Party. I think so. And welcome, my friends. Welcome to our ranch, A.G.F.C, our ranch Arrogant Fun channel. These electron pub doors are open. Come on in. Grab yourself your favorite seat, favorite snack, your favorite drink. As usual, I got the Folgers in the B cup. I'm ready to light this candle, light this up. So how's everybody doing tonight? This electronic bartender's a little tired. It's been hot today, my friends. It's currently 101 right now in Sacramento, California, which isn't not that bad, actually. You know, it's gonna get cooking. They're calling by this weekend, by Sunday, 110. So yeah, things are gonna get heated up a little bit here in California. So how's everybody like this angle? You like this angle kind of a little bit in the intro? I got two different camera angles I'm working with. Man. What a day. Let's see. Who do we got in the chat? Anybody in the chat? I'm not in there. Let's get back there. Nobody in the chat yet. So yeah, kick back. Relax. Join the chat. Live stream is all about you guys. This is your show. Come on in the chat and join in and explore with us this communal world we live in of air guns and air gun fun. Yeah. But I do know one thing. He's been a presence on this show for going on 2 years, I believe now. Yeah. He's somebody that we all know, and if you don't, you should. Good friend of ours that we've had on the show that he's filled our show up with his words of wisdom and his knowledge. I'd like to introduce you all, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you're watching this broadcast, wherever you are, our friend and yours, Mr. 22222. Mystic, my friend, how you doing? Let me get rid of this.
I'm surviving good by staying indoors.
Yeah, hold on. Get this music out of the way. There we go.
It would actually be really good to have music down in the background around 7 dB or something. Oops, we lost your camera.
Nah, hold on a second. Just give me a second. I'm transitioning cameras. All right. There we go. It's a little bit better. I need to get my camera a little focused more on.
Yeah, but I really do like your intro angle. That's actually the angle you should probably always have.
Yeah, but that camera, I can't. There's a flickering. It flickers, and I don't know what to do about that flickering.
Okay, well, the flickering would probably be because the frame rate is a multiple of your electrical rate.
Yeah.
So your lights are strobing with it.
Uh-huh.
And there should be a setting on the camera for that, where it will track the flicker rate of your lights and then synchronize with it.
I see. Okay. All right.
But both as a viewer and a videographer, that was a really good way to frame yourself, because it puts the focus of interest very, very much on you and whatever is closest
and it gives you a and also gives you a different angled view of a look at the studio a little bit.
It gives
What's behind the camera a little bit.
It gives you context.
Yeah. May 98, my friend, our friend here at our ranch, A.G.F.C, so close to our hearts. How you doing, girl?
Oh, they're on the road.
Ah, they're on the road bringing DG home. Okay, all right.
So,
that man is always welcome here on this show. Also, he's been a pinnacle since the inception. You guys have both been pinnacles since the inception of this. I remember you telling me this was like your very first podcast or live stream that you attended.
Yeah. Plus, I always wanted to be a pinnacle.
And your very first time you got that mask on, you weren't revealing who Mystic 22222 was gonna be.
And I'm still not.
But your secret's safe with us here, my friend. You know that. We don't need to know the deep darkness of
yeah, maybe needs to keep her eyes on the road.
I'll get car sick if I keep looking at my phone. Well, don't keep looking at your phone, May. Stop that. Actually,
you're not doing anything interesting anyway.
Well, we're just sitting here chilling it out. Nail gun shooters hangout. So yeah, I thought we'd go into a little more on that where we ended our discussion last time.
And you got to finish reviewing that video?
The interesting facts of robotic rounds.
Mm-hmm. Did you get to finish reviewing
Self-defense
it?
against a robot or a drone.
Mhm.
Self-defense against a robot or a drone. That's that's some fascinating shit because the field I went to school for computer electronics engineering
Uh-huh.
for robotics because I
Oh,
wanted to
really?
I wanted to build my own robots, but I never could get it kicked off.
When did they ever
I
start
couldn't get
creating classes
funding.
for that?
I could never find funding. I couldn't find investment. I couldn't find. I didn't have the money, of course. I still
Well,
don't have the freaking.
government regulations came in about 1982 that utterly shut down entrepreneurs. So the only people manufacturing robots after that was Japan and the military and industrial for, um, for Detroit and that sort of thing. So that's why I didn't know that they even had classes for robotics. I know that there are seminars that you can take, and of course MIT has always has a robotics department, but there's no degree in it as far as I know. I mean, when I was taking electronics,
Yeah.
there was no actual degree for electronics. I got a science degree. I didn't get an electronics degree. Certainly didn't get a robotics degree. None of that existed back then. Not even a computer science.
With a CEET course I took at ITT Institute.
And what year was that?
This is 2000. This is 2010 to 2012.
Okay.
It's just an associate's degree.
Uh huh.
But it gave me a whole hell of a lot of knowledge about how these things tick inside,
Yeah.
and how to um, repair circuitry.
Yeah. Repair. Well, that in a modular technology, that's pretty straightforward. You don't really have to know much of anything.
You do. You gotta know quite a bit. You can't just pick up a soldering iron and just start pulling components or slapping components on there and
No,
expecting it
but
to work.
all you got to do is look at
Soldering
the.
soldering is a precise science and
Sure.
art,
Oh well, tell me about it. I'm certified by NASA
you know. So
for space
I got
soldering.
I got pretty damn good at it.
Yeah. But
I
for
just
troubleshooting, all you really have to do is hook your scope to the Gatsinses and the Gatzautas, and look at what they should be and what you expect. The biggest problem with troubleshooting is always your feedback loops.
see.
Anytime
I
there's a
had a dream. My dream consisted of it was called Heart. Uh, um, it was consisted of individual but the same. Okay, individual robotic systems, human assisted robotic technology, Heart.
okay,
Okay, and made me saying our friend had a flat tire, so afterward we had to go put it here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, talking about having car trouble.
that's really rough when the weather's hot. But it's not. Is
But
it as hot there as it is here? Maybe. What's your temperature looking like? Not to start a pissing contest or anything.
but anyway, Heart, um
Human assisted robotic
human
technology.
assisted robotic technology. It consisted of multiple robotic systems being
Hmm.
ran by a PLC unit, programmable logical programming programmable logic controller units.
Yep.
You know what a PLC unit is?
That was the foundation of most stuff at
Okay.
Lockheed. Yes.
And
It's the industrial standard.
so it's all ran off this one PLC unit, but they're multiple. Okay, example. We all are used to having a toaster sitting in the corner of our kitchen, right?
Uh huh.
Now, what about having something the size, oh, of a cabinet that would, a small, um, a, a box cabinet sitting in the
Mhm.
corner that robotic arms would retract from to
Yeah.
wash the dishes for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
You mean like
there'd
in
be
that
on each
cartoon?
side of the sink. Say on each side of the sink, there's two of
Hmm.
these housing units
Yeah.
for these robotic arms that would retract out, collect the dishes in one sink, turn the water on. So they're all programmed to do this by
Yeah.
logic.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
and
takes a
that's
bit
all
more
they
than
do.
that.
That's all they do. And they know how to do
Yeah.
because it's you know what ladder logic is. If you know what a
Now,
PLC is,
that's
you know
actually
what a
what
ladder logic
PLC stands for, because the term PLC is a bit archaic. They just kept the phrase. It's programmable logic controller, and
control.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, not logic. You called it programmable logic. It's programmable ladder, but
ladder
I mean
control. Okay.
that's very confusing because
You,
it really has nothing to do
well,
with the
you
technology
you
that
got to
produced
learn through PLC. You have to learn and go through series of different ladder logic,
it. Yeah.
schematic, written schematic, because it all starts out as a written schematic.
Yeah.
That's all how all ladder logic is written schematic. And then you take the unit and you handheld programmer and program your ladder logic into it. And these robotic see and these robotic systems would all be ran off this programmable ladder
Hmm.
logic unit
Because it was all
controller.
very centralized. Expensive circuitry is
The
compacted
controller
into a
the
cabinet.
controller would be hooked up to a voice
Yeah.
activated unit,
Yeah.
okay, a speaker,
Uh,
okay. We're all used to having a some kind of an intercom system. We all knew of intercom systems, right?
yeah.
Throughout the house. Okay. You have this intercom system that's hooked straight into the ladder logic and it's all voice activated.
Hmm.
Um you tell the heart unit to do the dishes.
Uh,
You tell the heart unit over by the wash machine, the clothes wash machine, washer and dryer, assist me in folding clothes. You'll have these arms that come out, retract out, assist in folding clothes, assist in folding the laundry.
so when you say human assist, you're not saying human assisted. You're saying human assistance. So
Human
the human's
assisted.
doing the job, and the
Human
robots are
assisted.
the assistant,
Yes.
not
Oh,
the other way
okay.
around.
It's not the other way around. It's not humans assisting the robots.
Okay,
No.
good to
And
clarify.
because we got all these robots, we got a lot of these robots already. We got a Roomba. Roomba can actually be remotely controlled by a PLC
Yeah.
unit,
Yeah.
um, to to vacuum. My mom's got one that washes and waxes her tile floor.
Okay.
Okay, we got them already. Our
Yeah.
society's already getting used to robotic systems. It's
Yeah.
not going to freak out society.
And besides that, the design philosophy has changed to where the robots are pretty much separate and independent. You don't have a central control unit.
Right,
You
right.
might have a central control unit for something
You
like
don't need one. Need
processing
one.
remotely, vision or something.
You don't need one. Each one is switched in the PL. Each one is switched on by voice activation. Okay,
Hmm.
the switch in the ladder logic, okay, switches on by the voice activation.
Okay.
Okay, it can be programmed to be your voice. It can program to
Yeah.
be your husband's voice.
Yeah.
It can be or your wife's voice. I'm sorry. It can be programmed to be uh um how would you say? So there can be an app because everything's run on by apps today,
Yeah.
and there's PLC apps. Okay, everything can be run off your cell phone. You can control these PLC unit controlled robotic systems from your cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
How and you can program it. You can tell it right there from your cell phone to go mow the grass.
Yeah.
A robotic um, lawnmower that is programmed, all pre-programmed, ready for it to mow your grass. Instead of just a clumsy,
Yeah.
censored robotic
Yeah.
system that they got now. It actually schematically maps out your lawn, your
Uh-huh.
landscape, and precisely cuts it.
Yeah. Well, all of that stuff usually, I mean, now
But
is so powerful and compact that you can just have that on each and every robot. I can
right,
see have a, I can see having a central access terminal with a high IQ, with a Jarvis kind of uh,
you don't
call
need
and
all that.
response.
But with the
But
PLC, you don't need all that because it's just you see these things aren't autonomous. They're not autonomous. They're just robotic systems that perform one function only,
yeah,
and it's activated by these robotic systems themselves. Like, for example, the one to help assist washing dishes.
hmm
These arms would be fully functional, autonomous arms. It will perform a function through sensors and whatnot
hmm
to map out their environment.
yeah.
It's all very technical, um, but it's very simple at the same time.
How is this better than a dishwasher?
Okay, what if there's an air gunner in the world. His name, I forget his first name, but he goes by the name of Room Rebel.
Room Rebel?
Room Rune Rebel. You
Okay.
heard of him?
Nope.
He's he posts a lot on Facebook and whatnot, and he
Uh-huh.
does posts on YouTube. He's got his own YouTube. But anyway, into air guns, less than lethal kind of thing.
Okay.
Um, he's all completely. He's got completely prosthetic joints and
Uh-huh.
knuckles. Okay,
Uh-huh.
all of his hands are complete because of arthritis. They're all
Uh-huh.
prosthetic.
Uh,
There's people in the world who are severely disabled who can't hold dishes, who can't who can't even have the strength or the the ability to use their fingers to wash dishes.
right.
So that's where
So that
these robotic the human assisting robotic systems, um, they come in, they they physically wash the dishes by for you.
sure, but how do they get the dishes?
Well, you eat your meal, you put your dishes in the sink and they're dirty.
Okay.
These
Well, I'm
robotic systems will sense that there's a dirty dish there.
mhm,
After being activated and told to wash the dishes, they'll
mhm,
have a straight function to activate, come out, retract out, look at the sink.
mhm.
If there's something there, it needs to be washed.
Yeah.
It'll be pre-programmed how to wash as a 9-inch round dish.
hmm
So it already knows how to identify a 9-inch round saucer
hmm
and how to wash it.
Okay. So the only challenge that I can see is if someone is too disabled to even get the dishes to the sink, what you're looking for is a butler. And we have had butlers. That was actually the first real practical robots that we had. Very minimal function, little better than a Roomba, but that's what they could do.
But you're missing the point of a butler. Okay, we've had butlers since what era? What 16? 1700s. We're 2023. We're pushing 2024.
Well, the
It's
first
this is
robot
the
butlers that I'm
it's the
aware of
era of
were,
technological advancement
yeah,
and utilize
the robot butlers I'm
the
familiar
use
with
of
started about 1980.
robotic technologies.
Yeah.
What the Japanese are doing. What
What the Japanese are doing is really, they're not so much robots as androids. They are uh, companions, and it's not a true robot. A true robot,
right,
you
right.
don't need clever conversation or advice or anything, or even, well,
It's just, it's
all
an
you really
idea and a
need is
dream.
something that understands English or your language well enough to follow your instructions or take, like,
Right,
take my dishes,
right,
and so then the butler can just put them in a regular dishwasher, right?
right.
Okay, so when I had a dishwasher, I had two racks, one on the kitchen counter where I put my dirty dishes, and one in the machine. And when the rack on the kitchen counter was full, I pulled the empty
Okay.
rack out of the machine, put the other rack in the
Well,
dishwasher.
okay. Say you really weren't somebody that needed an assistant. Okay, you were at work, or you're busy off with family, doing something that mowing the grass or doing the dishes
Mhm.
or folding the laundry would take away from it. If you had, I mean, but you see, these robotic systems don't need to be paid. A butler needs to be paid.
Yeah,
A
no, that's
wash machine,
that,
a wash machine's not going to fill itself. A butler, somebody needs to
I'm
do it.
I'm describing a way that the washing machine fills itself.
Wash machines don't fill themselves.
This way, it
They
does.
need they they need they need something to put something into those wash machines.
Well,
I
that
mean,
would be
I,
a
I mean, unless you had some kind of delivery system to wash the dishes and then you rinse them or scrub them down and then put them into the. I don't know.
yeah. Washing machines don't work by scrubbing. They use very high temperature water with chlorine soap. Yeah, chlorine soap,
Right.
um, and they spray high pressure continually for a period of time.
I understand the concept of a wash
Yeah.
machine.
And they're very, very efficient.
There's
They're
still
well
there's still
designed.
by high speed hot
Yeah.
water. They're still being scrubbed.
So all they require is that a rack of dishes be put into them, and then later the rack being taken out.
But anyway, I wanted to just share that little thing that I had thought of through my school
Sure.
years.
Now the other thing is, if you have a PLC that's running everything and it can only do one thing at a time, all of your robots are standing around waiting their turn to be used.
Well, yeah. So what? So a robot's on its charging station, and it's not being. A PLC can do multiple things at one time just by switching. Just by switching.
Yeah, but when it switches, whatever it's doing, whatever was being done on this unselected machine, is now
Now, if
sitting.
it's left on, not if it's left to perform its function. If it's timed if it's timed to perform a function,
Yeah,
because these things have a precise duty to do. Okay, it only should if it's got 15 shirts to fold.
yeah. Well, okay. So let me give you a
But
couple of examples that I'm using right now.
anyway, first of all, let me before we keep him hanging any longer than normal or
Uh-huh.
any longer at all, we have our second pinnacle of this show that's been with us from the inception. With no further ado, our friend and yours, not Mystic 222, but DG Outdoors. DG Outdoors channel. My friend,
What's up, guys?
how you doing?
Howdy.
So,
Oh, you got this echo going on again.
do
You got a window open.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yep.
That,
All right. Well, I turned my
there's still a
volume
little
down.
echo.
Well,
You have a browser window open.
actually, I just closed it. I
Give it
don't
a
know
few.
what's going on.
You may have to bounce out and come back in.
All right, I'll try
My friend. I love that guy. He's so cool. He's him and May 98. They're other than like you and me, we've
No.
never met one on one. We've never met personally. We've
Yeah.
never met, and this is personal as it's gonna get, I guess. So I guess we have met. We do know each other kind of personally, but not really.
Well, I was really looking forward to Maccabee putting something together for to where people within the state could come together for a little jamboree.
That would be cool. I had thought of. I even threw up the idea, of a community barbecue.
Yep.
We can have it here at our Ranch Yoga Fun Channel. I threw that out to Maccabee Speed, to Mark Bostic,
Uh-huh.
to the community, and I didn't hear any response back.
Yeah, he did. He responded and he says, "Yeah, that would be a great idea. I'd love to do that. We've got so many fish in the pan. I'm not sure when we could get to that." That's what it boils down to.
So let's see if it's gonna happen now. DG Outdoors channel. Let's see if I can get it right. There we go. I got it right.
it. Is it still echoey?
DG, that's much better. Yes, sir.
Yep. A little
You
bit
got to
muffled.
remember to close out those browser
Yeah,
windows.
A little
probably
bit
because
muffled, but no echo.
is that better?
A little bit better.
All right. Well, you guys.
No, it's still an echo.
Well, at least the
It's
echo is
workable.
distorted.
It's workable.
Yeah, it's workable. So,
Okay.
DG, you're getting roped into referee service, right?
Well, let me put it this way. I don't have
You
an
got
electronic.
two electronic geeks here that are kind of
Hey,
duking it out with PLCs and
gentlemen,
control
I
logic.
don't have an electronics
What
background,
cannot be done with this shit.
Yeah.
but I did work for a place called Modus Link PTS, and we refurbed cell phones, and I data wiped and charged them,
Oh,
and
okay.
I have actually cleaned TV circuit boards for refurbish. So I
Really?
know a little bit about
All
electronics.
right.
And
All
how to
right.
work
All
and
right.
things.
Cool.
But as far as robots, here's what I think about. Number one, the movie I, Robot. Okay.
Yep.
And you guys talk about things. I think a robot has a specific purpose, like a Roomba cleaning a room, mowing your yard. There's things in robotics right now that are
That's
actually
what
coming out.
I was telling Mystic about my dream. My owning this company called Heart, human assisting robotic technology.
Right.
It's robotic systems that perform one function. It's not
Right.
hard to mow a lawn. It has one
But you
function. It
can't
just mows the lawn.
take the human element out of it though, because you need something to turn that
Well, no, the human element is
robotic on.
you voice activate or control it by your cell phone. You
Yep.
activate it and you turn it on. It knows what to do. It has one function.
So I understand what Brian was saying as far as you still need some, like, all right, let's say a dishwasher was a robot. You still need something to put those dishes in there, or unless you had another robot that could put the dishes in there for you.
That would be the robot that would need to be designed because the dishwasher's already there, and it's called a butler.
Right. So I'm combining both of what you guys were
Come on,
saying.
you keep going back to Butler.
He just meant butler
I can't
as
afford a butler.
I think he meant it as far
What if
as
my spine got one day my spine got so damn bad to where I'm back in a wheelchair and I can't I physically cannot wash my own dishes.
hey,
Exactly.
that's another robot thing
And I
is
can't
powered
afford a
worker.
butler. You know,
The
Of course.
butler is the assistant doing the stuff that the human should be doing. There you go. I think that's where
Well,
Mystic is going with it.
it's just
back
an
back when I was
idea I
back
had.
when I was designing a robot company. My first product was going to be a desktop supercomputer. Second was going to be a gardening robot. Third was going to be a household um, tidying up robot that would pick up toys and clothes and put them in the appropriate places. Third one was going to be a walking chair to replace the wheelchair. And at the time that I was working on that, um, this government decided it was going to take $5 million and build a wheelchair ramp at the Denver airport. And they had already closed down my company. They had put up regulations and taxes and expenses way beyond what an entrepreneur could possibly dream of. And then they put in this $5 million ramp. $5 million, I could have built my walking chair. It could have been my first product instead of my third one. Walking chair, you'd sit in it like a wheelchair, but it walks and it climbs stairs, and you don't have to worry about ramps.
Right.
$5 million for one ramp at one airport. Okay, whereas I could have freed all the people in the country with that kind of money.
But here's my question. So the technology right now, because you can go to like Five Below or Dollar General, and you can buy like the cheap knockoff Roombas. So the technology doesn't seem like it's that expensive to build
It's
a
not anymore.
vacuuming robot or whatever.
It's not, and it's not the problem. That's not something I have a problem with. The problem I have here is you're spending $300-$400 on a one-trick pony. All it can do is dust the floor. They don't really vacuum. They just dust the floor.
No, okay, but you're missing the point of Heart though. Heart was multiple. It's not just one robotic dummy. It's a collection. It's a collection, brand individually, but through one system.
How much does, if you have it in one robot, yes, I totally agree. But how much, or let's say you have 4 of these stations, one for the
That
washing
was
dishes.
also part of my idea is having a central command robot.
So you want to do it like
You know,
iRobot the
have
movie
something
does.
have something like what is it what's that little robot um that
Short
they have
circuit?
out now? It's on 2 wheels. It looks like a iPad on 2 wheels, and it follows you around, and it's a
No.
totally autonomous, and it's got a base on the iPad that will communicate with you and whatnot, and
Yeah, but what does it actually do? What manipulators?
its main function would act as I believe they marketed it as a surveillance. It's just something that
It's
just
an
screws around.
it's a smart access point.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
But you
And
can
that was what I was
have.
referring to earlier.
I mean, you can have it. I also had the thought of having a central, other than the PLC unit, having a mainframed central computer, a central uh, robotic unit, a bipedal, something like what Tesla's inventing.
Okay, so actually you're talking about one robot with multiple functions. Is that right?
Yeah,
One robot
that's exactly what he's talking
to
about.
assist you. One robot to be your partner has died.
Yeah.
Partner
So
you've
it'll
been
be
with
your
for 70
it'll
years.
help you.
The
Yeah.
only thing you know is died, and you know you're lost. She did all these shit. She did all this stuff.
Okay, so
She did all.
basically you're just looking for something to
You can
replace
have
most of the functions of an in-care nurse.
see.
Someone to
Okay,
do the
but
dishes and take out the trash.
Yeah.
because robotics can't get personal with you. There's no personal feeling. There's no
No, they're not supposed to.
human
That's what
side
an
to it.
Android.
There's no
That's what an
human side
Android's
to it
for.
other than what you want.
That's what an Android's for.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
What
An
confused me,
Android
Brian,
robot.
what confused me was when you were describing that a dishwasher, which was arms in a cabinet that would come out over the sink and wash the
No,
dishes.
no. I was describing. I was describing not a dishwasher.
Okay.
I was. If you need assistant with you can go in advance. You can go as advanced because they have robotic cooks already. You know, you can
Yeah,
have
but they're built in.
Talking about
system that
someone
you
that
can have a system of
basically,
arms, robotic arms that will perform cooking.
And those are extremely expensive.
oh yeah.
It doesn't have to be. None of it's so part of a package.
I agree. I agree.
But the technology has to get there.
Again, you were part of my
The
confusion.
technology is there. It just hasn't been
Understand.
implemented in the way that I'm proposing.
Well, it's got to be cost effective too.
It's cost effective if it does enough functions, because then you divide those number of functions by the total cost. When you buy a Roomba, you about 90% of your robot is the same materials you would use if it did more than just dust the carpeting. Okay,
Right.
and in fact, if you had if you're going in the direction I think you're going, you don't want to buy a vacuum robot. You want to buy a robot that can run your vacuum, your home vacuum, because the home vacuum is much better designed. You've already got it, right? And it's inexpensive because the technology for manufacturing vacuums is very mature.
Well, in today's world, a robotic vacuum cleaner is a lot cheaper. In some avenues, because you got up to $1,000 vacuum cleaners.
And but you don't need that. The reason you need $1,000 vacuum cleaner, like the old Kirby's, which I actually paid $900 for, is because you got to do a big job and you got to do it real quick, and you don't care how much power it takes. You don't care that it takes a man to wield the darn thing. With a Roomba, it's got all night and all afternoon that you're gone. Anytime you're not on the floor, it can be vacuuming. That's fine. I'm just saying that the kind of robot you need to do the vacuuming, it can use a very small, cheap vacuum, like one of those little Hoover things, the little ones you can pick up by hand and run across your furniture and all that. It can use one of those. It's not very efficient. It takes a long time, but it's got all the time in the world, right? And that would cost a lot less, because if you build a robot that's capable of manipulating that and other things, you may have spent $1,000 on that robot, but it can do 20 different things. And if you buy 20 different robots, each of which only does one thing, you're looking at $100,000.
I keep going back to iRobot. Every time you guys talk about this or talking about it, it's like the robot can do everything.
So what you up to, DG? What was your day feel like? You worked?
Well, I put my new ground blind up.
Seen that.
I did a video on the new targets that I got.
I haven't seen that one yet. I've seen the posting of it, but I haven't seen it.
I just literally saw a 10-point buck on the way home.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's on my radar. I bought a new trail camera so I can put one over the food plot too, and I got some deer bait coming tomorrow in the mail, so I'll put those out to monitor my cameras and stuff. So I'm hoping to get that buck on the camera. Here's the thing, though. All right, let's say the movie iRobot actually happens. What is the likelihood of the robots actually trying to take over the world?
The odds are entirely dependent on whether there are humans who want to hijack the system like the way they hijacked our government. They have already provided for that in our cars.
They've been saying since the
Chinese
take over the world.
the Chinese have developed a artificial intelligence, an AI, female robot.
I mean, the Japanese.
Is it the Japanese? I thought it was
Yeah,
the
it's the
Chinese.
Japanese.
Japanese, okay.
The reason for that is
Who has been now on interviews on talk shows,
Mhm.
whatnot on TV, who is performing autonomously on her own,
Yes.
and and has been evolving autonomously
Yep.
on its own for some time now, since its conception. And
You guys know what's
this is
scary right
the
now?
beginning. This is the beginning. Okay, this bitch, this robotic bitch, is the beginning of, what would you say, uh, in the Terminator,
Well, you
what was
got
the name of the
Terminator,
corporation?
yeah,
Um,
iRobot, The
what
Sixth
was the name
Day.
of the corporation? But anyway, this is the beginning of
What you need to
iRobot
understand.
kind of
Yeah. What
shit. They have they have they have humanoid looking robots
Yeah.
performing
This
humanoid functions.
The story of the Japanese robot revolution is very different than what most people think it is.
I mean,
Well,
they've
the,
advanced it to where
but
you
there's a
have
reason.
to take a real second look to, because the way they built the exoskeleton around all the
Yep,
components and everything
that's
looks so
logical.
damn real.
Yeah. Well, it is real. It's just here's what you need to understand about the Japanese robot revolution. The Japanese have the same problem with the boomers that every other country in the world had,
Excuse me.
with one exception. They cherish their elders. And they knew that their elders, that is our generation, were not going to have enough people to take care of them. And so, uh, rather than trying to find ways of getting rid of them, like let's say SSI is trying to do, they they began a program, a national program, like we had started a national program on developing a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
Russia began a national program on developing electromagnetic Tesla type weapons to counter the nuclear weapons.
Right.
Japan took massive amounts of national money and funneled it into their robotics program for one reason only: to develop companion robots capable of taking care of their elderly, of
Right.
home living assistants.
Right.
And so to do that, they had to combine several functions: practical utilitarian functions, uh, personality functions, that is, they are meant to be companions, which means they are androids, not just robots.
Right.
And finally, they had to be very independent because human needs change all the time.
And that was basically my whole concept with Heart.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. But they have it in one single unit. You had confused me with a lot of language you were using. PLCs are never really used in um, classical robotics. They're used in industrial control systems.
Exactly, which would make Heart unique.
So
Here's
as long as you're combining unlimited possible functions as a multi-tool into one robot, I'm totally with you. And that was my goal in my future company. That never was. Okay.
Right.
But my robots were meant to be true robots. They were not meant to be companions.
Well,
Yeah, companions are kind of nice, but utilitarianism is my entire focus. I'm only concerned about feeding people first. But I started my robotics program when I was 7 years old and first got the idea of a robot from a political commercial.
right.
When I understood what the concept of a robot was, I dedicated my life to that, and I worked on that until I was 22, when my fledgling company was put out of business, along with all the other entrepreneurs of Silicon Valley.
So
Right.
Brian's talking about more of a robot style of like iRobot, where it literally does everything for you. It can be a maid, it can
Yeah.
be whatever you need. You're talking about like short
No,
circuit robot style,
you,
right? Like just a robot. And
A
you,
robot is not an
you can
android.
have it.
right.
Okay, we got them now.
If you
Okay,
need friends, call
it's your
your
first
friends on
parking
video.
lots. It's your first parking lots with cameras, and they just follow. Um, they can be they can be remotely controlled to follow certain individuals or whatnot.
Mm.
Well,
Okay,
one quick,
it can be
easy one.
autonomous enough to know to follow you. It knows your signature. Your it knows to follow you and
Mhm.
and to obey your command
Yeah,
through voice control. Voice command. It knows your voice and it's pattern recognized to obey you. You know, it can it could be something as simple as you know, I can't remember the name of this little robot.
I don't remember what I was watching, but they had something where like security cameras were so advanced to the point where it could recognize you by your retinal DNA from like a traffic camera or
But it
whatever.
doesn't have to be fully autonomous. It doesn't have
Mm.
to be this iRobot AI. Okay,
Dude,
it could be
right
s-
now
it could be a,
the
it could be a smart it could be an iPad that follows you. Okay, it could be it's just like the Roomba. It can sense you. It can just follow you and do the iPad. You control each and every individual. You tell the
so
lawn
it could be
mowing
like,
robot to go to mow the grass through the iPad.
okay.
private off the shelf drones that fly do that right now. They fly and they
Well,
center you on the camera, and they will follow you as the
yes,
and they'll
exactly. The
follow you at whatever
technology exists.
they'll follow you along whatever hike you want. They claim that
I
you
just
can.
combine existing technologies and make it
Yeah.
work.
Okay. Yeah.
I got another.
Dude,
I mean, they're called hover lights.
Mhm.
All they are is a robotic hovering device that hovers about 8 to 9 feet off the ground. The size, the length of a ceiling, normal
and
ceiling.
and you can do that
Okay,
today with the drones that exist.
exactly.
It doesn't even have to be
Right.
programmed for it.
It's just
You just select
here's what's
follow
scary,
me.
I have
guys.
no. I've never been able to find. I've never been able to find an investor.
Now they have replica like AI on your phone. You can download that app and it's your AI friend. Those things are creepy and they will stalk you and they know all your
Yeah,
information.
yeah.
Like when
You've tried chatbot GPT yet?
no, I won't do any of that crap. I just know people say that the replica AI app you can put on your phone is very creepy and it gets very jealous at you if you don't talk to it for a few days.
Okay, so this was written in stories of Isaac Asimov, Nine Tomorrows, the paperback novel
Yeah.
of 9 different stories. Starts at the beginning when they're first creating super high powered computers that keep track of absolutely everything in the world and the consequences that go with that. And followed is that when you have one artificial intelligence entity that tracks absolutely everything, you become completely dependent on it
Right.
because not only are you using those services until you don't know how to do it yourself, but everybody else depends on you following it, and you depend on everyone else following its instructions because it knows more than you do about what to do to avoid. Well, for example, it'll tell you this is not a good day for you to travel because
This is
you're
where
off.
the danger of autonomous automation comes in.
This is the danger of having a one big global center, essentially a cyber god. That's what you're talking about. That's a cyber god. Okay, and it's not a product.
They have them
it's
already.
it's the management system that they're developing for the world to manage you.
The scary thing about that is if you're such, I guess, an introvert that you don't want to get out and have real friends and antisocial, and you have an AI friend, it can get really addictive.
Sound like somebody like me.
Well, we've been for over almost an hour, guys, talking about nothing, air guns,
Hey, speaking of,
everything, robotics and
I saw,
electronics, and
I'll bring it to air guns. I
robots.
saw your video today, Brian.
I
I saw your
robot.
picture.
So, Brian, that's why I asked you when DG came on. Have you reviewed the rest of that video and come up with?
I did start reviewing a little bit more of it, and I got it right here ready to share a little bit more, and we can rewatch some of it and get our feedback on it, because it goes down two realms that I'm very passionate about. Robotics and air guns.
Mm-hmm.
Drones, and I'm not big into drones. I've never been. I tried flying my friends and I wrecked it. Oh, real
I
bad.
got rid of my drones.
Today's drones are very hard to wreck. They're
But,
semi-autonomous. They know when they're about to bump into something. They will
Body
resist.
was made of styrofoam.
It's not like flying the old helicopters.
But,
You just indicate which way you want it to go, and it goes that way.
right.
And when it comes to an obstacle, it slows down and goes around it.
Yeah.
If it does bump into it, it corrects.
And today's ones just follow your smart device.
Yeah, or your face.
Well, that's pretty advanced for
Yeah, but it's all. But the facial recognition is all on one chip now. You can buy a chip that recognizes faces.
Can you afford that chip?
Yeah, it's like $20.
Are you got the knowledge to know how to implement it into circuitry? And
yeah, it's very much like working with any other microcontroller.
Not everybody does. Not everybody does, Mystic.
Well, like I was saying earlier, most things in electronic repair is just modular, and so all the parts it's not PLC. Everything nowadays is modules that talk, or controllers that talk over a twin lead wire, and they all they do is give instructions, take requests, answer, and so the code is already written for you. So it's mostly just cut and paste. And so there is a chip where you can program it for a face, and then it will give the coordinates of that face, and then you just feed those coordinates to the drone. The rest, the drone's main brain, and the drone already has the algorithm to follow. So now we switch from following an object to following a specific face.
Do you guys remember the movie War Games?
Yes.
Yes.
Matthew Broderick, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, that whole system was based off of simple games like chess and tic-tac-toe and how they communicated.
All application programs start out as a simulation. The problem was they never told the computer what a simulation was, so it didn't know the difference.
It thought a real war was going on, and so did everybody else.
No, it
was playing a game.
No, it was just playing a game, but they had connected it to real nuclear launches.
Silos and whatnot. They gave it the launch key. Because they pretty much gave it the launch key to everything we had.
Yeah, because the humans wouldn't turn the launch key, so they just handed the controls over to the computer. They didn't tell it wasn't real, So when they finally, there was one scene when they finally said, "Are you playing a game or is this for real?" And it says, "Well, what's the difference?"
Right.
That was their problem, right there.
There's a few people I wanted to give a shout out to, today, and kind of give recognition to enjoying a little bit of their videos, and whatnot. First of all, I want to thank again, gentlemen I've never met before, other than through this community and whatnot. DK Spencer, he is out of his kind heart. His wife makes these. I know I had one, Brian, around here.
You probably shot it, Brian.
These 68 caliber. I don't know. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up or not.
We see him.
But
That's pretty cool.
these they're in a resin. What do you call it? A Sobat, a
Or
Sobo,
wax?
Resin mold.
Sabo,
Sabo.
and
Sabo.
Yeah.
it's got a steel ball bearing in it, and in the tipped cone. She puts this tipped cone into it, so it's pointed with a steel ball bearing. And these things are like, this is what I believe was probably one of these real heavy ones, 13 grams.
Can you reuse those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And
So,
out of the right
what
machine,
what is it meant
out of
to
the
do?
right machine, they'll penetrate somebody, or they'll knock you silly. They'll knock something very silly. I mean, I did a test. My latest video. Did you capture my latest video?
The one you did today?
The one I just put out today.
Yeah, I watched it. I was like
No.
9 minutes after you posted it. I watched it.
Those 2.9 gram mercury rise. It's ammunition. It's the steel, hardened steel ball bearing covered with hardened rubber.
Yeah.
That cracked that 5-gallon bucket.
Did it?
That mercury rise torpedo. That little pistol cracked that bucket. Those with those rounds.
Did you? I think I sent you a link to a video. I don't know if you watched it about the.
It wouldn't open.
It wasn't open.
No, it sent me straight to Google.
Huh.
A Google ad, and I was like,
It was a video about a guy who like took that apart and put it back together, and it was about the 51 or whatever.
the TR50.
No, it was about the Mercury Rising one that you have.
Yeah, the TR50.
Yeah.
It's called the torpedo revolver.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yeah, it was that. I thought it was neat, so I sent it to you. I'll try to refind it and send it to you.
What I need, I need you to hit me up. I need you to hit me up privately, because I have an idea. No. But they won't ship to me the torpedo rounds, even in the powder form. The practice powder rounds. They sent me the round ball, the powder round ball, but they won't ship the torpedo rounds to me. They look like little torpedoes. They're about yay big around, yay long. But they look like little torpedoes. It's got what looks like a rotary torpedo fin, fan tail in the back, just like a torpedo would. That's to guide it in stabilization. And I need to get me some. They won't ship it to me here to California.
California's so weird.
California's apt.
Yeah.
It's so stick up their ass. Mercury. California, get that stick out of your ass. Give us pepper balls. Let us have our less than lethal self-defense. What we need. Let us have it.
Self-defense is a very dirty word.
And let us run our regular lawnmowers.
I got several dirty words I can shove through usage.
Speaking of robots, I couldn't run one of those robotic lawnmowers or at my house. My ground's too hilly and bumpy and large. It'd take forever for one of those
A
things to mow
robotic
down.
system could be anything. A
No, I'm
robotic
just
system.
saying
The
You
the
thing
can
you
have
have
ones
a
to
they have.
robotic John Deere.
Well, I'm
You
just
can have
saying the
a
think that
three. You can have a 0 point be robotic.
right.
the thing about robots is that they will persist until they get the job done, even if they have to run day and
That's
night. So
right.
it doesn't matter how
But
That's
I
much you
thought I
right.
take.
saw a commercial of one where you actually had to put a plastic grid down in your yard
And
for it to
there's
be able
no
to knock back
talking
and forth.
back. There's no shoving food down its mouth. There's no providing toilet paper to wipe its ass. You know what? There's none of that.
Yeah.
There is that with the
Doesn't
butler.
doesn't need doesn't. No, when I say butler, I'm talking about a
A
robot
robot
butler.
butler. Okay.
You didn't
I didn't
catch that? A robot
just heard
butler
the
is
word
very
butler.
general purpose. It brings you things, it takes things from you and puts them somewhere else. It fills your glass. Maybe if you've got a good program, it'll mix your
You're talking
drinks. You know,
about an AI
Don't they
system.
have a refrigerator now that has
Very
a built-in
incredible.
iPad
You're
that can
talking
tell
about a
you
very
everything that's in
incredible
your
AI
fridge,
system that does,
sure.
and that will tell you
The
when it
problem with that
expires
is
and everything, I think.
would not ever be cost
the
effective
problem. The
to put
problem
out
with that is it
mass
tells the
public.
whole world what you got in your refrigerator and what you've been eating, and then your insurance company says, "Well, we're raising your rates because you eat so badly. We know you're going to get sick.
The movie
We'd
Saw,
like you to
that's
take
the
your insurance
reason why one
out."
of the guys were like killing people was because he like the insurance company like, oh, if you're so sick, well, we can't insure you because we know you're gonna die, or it's like it's so dumb. That's how the insurance
And that
company.
was one of the things. That was one of the stories in Nine Tomorrows was about a guy. Everybody in the world has insurance. You can get insurance for anything, but there's one guy in the world he cannot buy insurance, and he can't find out why. And then it eventually turns out, when the investigators really dig down into it, the AI tells them we can't insure him because when he dies, it's the end of our world.
Now, DK Spencer, he creates these. He takes these stock already. They're called BKSs and different less than lethal launchers. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
high-powered paintball guns.
Yeah.
And
How come you don't
uh,
own a paintball gun, Brian?
what's that?
You need to get a paintball gun.
I have one.
Yeah, he
Basically,
has
my
one.
TCR is a paintball gun. My HDR 68 is a paintball gun.
Will it
The
shoot paintball?
the
But we
Mercury
really,
Rise, even though Mercury Rise TR50 is marketed as a self-defense weapon, excuse me, it's basically a
after this
paintball gun.
last month's news, what we really need are less lethal cluster bombs.
Less lethal cluster bomb would be very cool. Yes,
Basically, a paintball grenade.
paintball grenade, paintball claymore.
Paintball,
Yeah.
paint
Anyway,
balloon.
Oh, they have
this is
that.
something DK calls his Green Goblin. He's been working on for some time, and I thought we'd throw it out there and just share this quick video that he put together. My friend DK
Okay.
Spencer, and we want to say hi and thank you for your generosity to the R Ranch A.G.F.C channel. And so let's go ahead and watch this real quick. This is called the Green. This is
Hi,
called
Anonymous.
finishing the Green Goblin. Finish the Green Goblin.
I was talking all this about making that black and everything, and I got to thinking about it. Well, the goblin's not just green. The goblin's green and purple, unlike the Joker, who's purple and green. So, so I decided there were a couple little purple things on there. So I did a purple barrel, did a purple thingy there, a little purple hopper cover,
Purple
and
thing.
that's called a castle nut, and it's purple too. So, yeah, feel a lot more goblin-y. Now, the goblin has different clothes, because you can't always dress the same. Sometimes, he may want to put his big boy pants on. Throw 685 smooth bore, threaded tip, and obviously, this baby
Okay.
eats BK Kinetics.
Those are the rounds his wife makes.
So,
They are brutal. tore right through this copper can that I have.
Like
Yeah, we can go
They look
permanent
at
suppressor
caliber
too if we
resin
want, but
pellets or whatever. 3D printed resin
so
pellets.
now I finally feel like the goblin looks like the goblin.
Jack
Crazy
fam, we
guy.
live. We live. Peace and blessing to you and your
It was
family. Big salute. And I say once again, peace and
Tack
blessings to
family.
you and your family.
You guys know Tack
Can I
family?
ask you a question? Have you been thinking, living, and moving tactical?
I mean,
Because I have.
stop that. We weren't going to be watching that.
So
Okay.
I got a lot of new steel spinning targets for the air
I
gun.
seen
range.
that. I haven't seen it, but you got steel spinning targets.
Yeah,
The
I got
Walmart
those
ones?
too. No. Amazon.
Amazon. Okay.
I got a white rabbit. And
Cool.
it has a self-resetting. It's got an orange and yellow like dot you shoot, and then it springs back. I got a zombie one. I got one that has like 4 little farm animals on it, and then I got
Just
the one that looks like a crow.
target. Cool.
Huh?
Plinking
Yeah, but
targets.
yeah, they're all plinking targets. And then I found Guide Gear had a combo pack of like a normal spinner target with a small one on top and a little one on the bottom. And then they had one that would auto reset. So you'd shoot the 4 targets on the bottom and then shoot the one on the top and it'd reset
Oh,
itself.
yeah.
So I got all kinds of them. It's pretty cool. I had to spray paint the 2 black ones orange because I couldn't see them. Where my air gun range is by the tree, I couldn't see the target itself, so I spray painted them orange so I could see them.
I see.
You know, if you spray paint them with a fluorescent paint or like a day glow paint, and then you put a UV lamp down towards the target, you could really like
Yeah.
that.
True.
I
Didn't
use
think
glow
about
in the
that.
dark. I use this orange glow in the dark. I took out this old cast iron skillet, spray painted it this glow in the dark orange, set it outside all day long, and yeah, it glowed in the dark for some time.
You know those light robot or whatever you were talking about that hover over you? That'd be awesome for shooting ranges in the dark
Lights.
because it'd follow over you and just light it up like a Christmas tree, and
Because
then
you
you could
know, I
just
mean,
shoot all night long.
LEDs are so
Yep.
light. You know, I mean, you
True,
can make
yeah.
this thing. You can make this thing so light. That anonymous American has joined us. Is in the house. Hey guys, what's up? Anonymous American, amazing how we went from Red Riders, Bright Barrels, bows 20 years ago to now PCP, big bores, semi-auto, air guns, and all
And
calibers. Right? It's crazy.
Which is why we're so
AEA
scatterbrained here now.
is
Trying to cover it all.
changed the AEA a whole bunch. Hudson has changed just playing field of the Blitz, the Invader.
You know, it would make a really good invention.
Hudson USA. If you're hearing this, you ever see this, anybody ever sees it, please pass it on. If you know somebody at Hudson USA, we want a 30 caliber Invader. We want a 30 caliber. Yes, I said 30 caliber Invader. I want to be able to shoot 357 slugs from an Invader. I want to be able to shoot those big old 3-0 slugs out of the Invader.
I would really like to see airgun manufacturers make them for standard firearm bullets, so that we can just buy them and plug them. You know, those are standard sizes, like the 357. 30 gauge air gun is not the same as a 30 gauge firearm.
So you're talking about an adapter, like you can go buy a 30 caliber, like lever action or whatever, and turn it into an air gun?
No, just a barrel that will accept, with a receiver that will accept a 357 bullet, like you would press into a cartridge. Only we don't need to reload them. We just need to buy them by the
concept
box.
that I seen somebody beat me to it, but it's something that can
Think of
be
all the
replicated, and it has to do
yeah.
with the
Think of all the
TR-50. The
think of all the molds that they make for standard 357s. It's hard to find an air gun 30 gauge or 30 cal because the 30 gauge barrel is .300 and it or 0.305 and it takes a .300 and even in a 30 gauge firearm it's substantially larger than that.
You're making
I'm not an
sense
American.
because
You're saying they have a 30 caliber Invader? 30
that makes
caliber
total
Invader
sense
Pro?
because I've tried to use like a 22 rimfire like cleaning brush and a 22 LR or 22 air rifle, and it won't fit because the bore
So,
diameter is different.
no, in fact, you can get it stuck. You can damage your barrel trying to yank it back out. You're right. That's how I learned. Was when I tried to get a cleaning kit for the Blitz, and just went into the GI surplus store and bought what says 30 caliber. Oh no,
No,
no, no,
it's like 218 or
So
whatever. It's weird.
the air gun manufacturers have gone with a completely different standard than
They
firearm
have to.
standard, and that means they're
Yeah,
not
they have
interchangeable.
to.
Why do they have to?
Because air guns aren't firearms.
We're just talking about
Yes,
bore
What do
diameters
you mean, yes?
between air rifles and regular
we're
firearms.
talking
An air gun is not a
bore
firearm.
diameter.
It,
That's
No,
correct.
but if you took a standard 22 LR bore diameter,
that is taking a firing pin, striking a primer into a cartridge full of gunpowder, and igniting and shooting that bullet out down the
That's,
barrel.
we're not
that's
That's
following
not
what
what we're
that's
talking
what
about,
defines a
Brian.
Brian.
firearm to be a firearm.
No,
That's not what we're talking about.
we're talking about let's say I took my 22 rifle barrel off my rifle and put it on my Benjamin Prowler 22 caliber. The barrel diameters are completely different by like this
Exactly.
much.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about making it the same so you can swap out barrels, or that way the bullet diameters are the same.
I have a rifle where I can swap out between 22 and
The
30
Beeman?
cal air rifle, but what I can't do is buy a box of, let's say, if you were reloading, you'd buy a box of primers, you'd buy a box of shells, or you'd pick up
Right,
shells and
right.
recondition them, and you'd pick up bullets, and then you pick up powder, right? The bullets are not the same bore size as an air gun. So if they were, you could just buy a box of bullets, not cartridges, just bullets, and you could put those in your air gun and shoot them. And you
It'd
can't
be a lot
because
cheaper.
they're off by a few thousandths, and they're off in the wrong direction by a few thousandths. And you can't use standard cleaning equipment to clean your air gun. They have a cleaning kit for air guns. So what I had to do was I had to go to a smaller gauge. I think I had to use a 25 caliber brush to clean my Blitz, and it kind of worked, but then it was a little too loose, But it kind of worked. Whereas when I stuck the 30 in there, I almost didn't get it out. I could have easily damaged I may have done some damage to the barrel. I don't know, but don't ever stick a firearm cleaning brush into an air rifle barrel.
Well, no.
I've done it.
I don't know. There's controversy.
I tried to use the cleaning
whether or not using a brass brush on the rifling on the inside of airgun barrels.
That brings up a really good point because they tell you not to use a brass cleaning brush in it because some of the barrels used to be made of brass and you'd scrape them up. But those nylon ones, they got some flex in the bristles, which is why they fit down the barrel better too. And I just dawned on me. But yeah, like I've tried to use even just a patch holder, patch loop. That's a different diameter because I had a 22 caliber, just the brass loop or the patch loop, and I couldn't fit it down the barrel of my 22 caliber air rifle, and it was made for a 22 caliber firearm. It's just like a 0.centimeter different size, and it won't fit.
Right.
So I had to go buy like a 0.17 or go buy an actual 22 caliber air gun cleaning kit just to do that.
which I couldn't find.
Right.
I tried to use the cleaning snake. I couldn't even get it to go in. I wasted my money. I could not use it.
Well, the next person I'd like to recognize, and he's been a very, very big friend and contributor to the channel, my videos, and helped me out. It's been there and answered a lot of important questions that I've had, and but he's delved himself into a little bit of less than lethal himself, and my friend Maccabee Speed is, he's gone legendary now. He's left the era. He's changed into the era of legendary now. 1,000 videos, over 1,000 videos. Congratulations, man.
Leading a movement.
Has he been on
Congratulations,
YouTube for like
Maccabee Speed.
11 or 12 years
My
now?
friend B.
Yeah, but not for air guns. He started out in car racing.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm like,
He started getting into air guns as a result of the COVID lockdown.
I thought he did air guns because he got into some trouble when he was younger and he can't own firearms.
Say goodbye to tedious
No.
wire connections and messy soldering. Try our revolutionary.
but yeah, let me get this.
Did that for his personal reasons, but not as a YouTube channel. He got into air guns on his YouTube channel as a result of the lockdown because he couldn't go racing anymore.
So I guess it was a mix of both. I guess really.
Yeah, you could say that.
But yeah, we want to recognize our friend Maccabee Speed.
But what really launched his channel was the fact that he realized that the technology was running away and creating something that was truly useful for home defense, because he had a really bad experience that could have been far worse. And because his he had an air gun which looked very impressive, and he didn't even have any rounds in it. But he was able to chase off a burglar who broke into the house. The burglar took off running down the stairs and dived out the window.
Right.
I mean, he really panicked, and he didn't have to fire a shot. And that was a large part of his point he was trying to make is, even if you just had an airsoft and you cover up that orange tip, that can save your life. It can save your family's life. I mean,
Yeah.
So, but
anyway, Maccabee Speed, he put out a little video containing some the Mercury Rise MUB 50.
Hey Brian.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna hop off of here. It's almost 10:30, and I gotta work.
Man, all right. Hey, DG, you have yourself a good night, and God bless you. And listen, brother, you guys are always welcome here at our ranch, A.G.F.C, especially our lives. You say you put it out that you might be doing a live show now?
Yes.
I see that.
Sometime next week, I'll keep you guys and I'll post on my community post what day it's going to be. I'm not sure yet. So.
Okay, I need to answer Anonymous American for a moment.
Okay.
So he said that for whatever reason, when Maccabee started out, he made an unsafe recommendation about tank pressures, and I called him on it. Since way back then, I can't comment on his channel, sadly. I love him, but I'm silenced. Still subbed and watched it, but makes me sad. Anonymous, he just came out this last week, and he repented of that. He is deeply in your debt. He made a complete turnaround, and he's apologized for that. And if you come back on his channel, I think he will he'll resub you. I mean, he'll restore you.
Wow.
Yeah, that setting may still be there, but he'll probably remove it now. You were absolutely right, and he said you were absolutely right. He made a very deep, heartfelt apology in public to you for that very thing.
B is Mac is a upstanding guy.
So go back to the last vid he
Make a
made.
mistake, he owns up to it, and
Yeah.
I know this man very well.
Go
I don't
back.
know
Go
very
back.
well,
Go
but
back to the last video he made earlier this week, and go watch that, and you'll be very. You'll be very. You'll feel a lot better about it. And
so yeah.
he
With no
wants.
further ado, I just want to you know, post this and share this as a thank you to Mac, and just recognize him and what he does for the community. He does a lot. He does do a lot. Busts his butt.
And he has one of the highest level of integrity that I've seen in the world.
Right.
He came right out and said he's sorry and he's grateful that you did, and he's sorry for the way he treated you.
So anyway, here we go. We're gonna go ahead and check out Max Pepperball, the MUB Mercury Ride. He is high energy, yes, sir. Has
Yeah, and Anonymous is also much more humble now than
Imagine they had art list footage in the 60s.
Okay, guys, how are we going to pull off this moon landing?
Sahara Desert. Let's
What is up, guys? Maccabee Speed coming at you. Great little different flavor for you to take in today, the less lethal stuff. As you've seen on my channel over the course of the almost 1,000 uploads that we have done in 12 years on YouTube with you guys, I kind of somewhat tend to stay away from the less lethal stuff because in general, when I've shown it to you guys, I only get disappointment out of it. The one thing that was marketed as a less lethal tool that absolutely exceeds the expectations and falls almost into firearm level power levels, in my experience, has been the Defender 2. The Defender 2 is a monster, absolutely killer 100% of the time when it works. But the reliability factor that we've seen on the Defender 2 up to this point leaves something to be desired. Today, courtesy of Mercury Rise, I do have an absolutely new to market offering for you guys to check out in the form of the MUB 50 caliber less lethal pistol. This is also considered a paintball marker, and it does utilize 50 caliber paintball, but this specific pistol is also marketed for less lethal defense. I just dropped all my little balls everywhere. Damn. Alright, well, there goes that idea. Super great, YouTuber. Nice, way to go. Alright, where did the rest of them go? Do I get them back? Do I not get them back? Are they gone forever? Seemingly gone forever. Excellent, outstanding. Well, you know what? We have the powder rounds here that I've gone ahead and so errantly spilled all over the floor. These are not spicy air as I would so prefer, but in Governor Gavin Newsom's dictatorship, we cannot have weaponized aerosol spicy air. So I've got these practice rounds instead to kind of show you exactly what I mean about this also being a paintball pistol. Now I've already gone ahead and loaded them up, but this also has the ability to shoot hard, non-breakable projectiles like these plastic balls that came in the kit from Mercury Rise. They look like this, they're just a hard, lightweight plastic, and you get 7 of them. Weird number to get. Right, what do you get? Lose one? And you get 7 of each of these offering in the kit. Additionally, in the kit, you're gonna find this back piece right here, and this back piece serves as the quick pierce valve for this system. As you guys may have remembered from the Umarex HDP50 caliber episodes, that's also where the Umarex HDP50 is going to get its power from. The CO2 cartridge in the hand grip here is going to be pierced by this quick pierce system. They go ahead and market it with an Allen key, you tighten it about this tight, give it the bump, you're ready to go. This works on a similar but different setup. Similar in the sense that it has the same basic principles, but different in the sense that it operates just slightly differently. No tools required to go ahead and pop it in. Good to go. And from what it felt like there, chances are I wouldn't need as much effort as I do with the HDP50 valve. The HDP50 valve has been known to be stout enough to where you almost sometimes need to whack it on a table or some solid object to get that initial pierce. This feels like it has a shorter throw of motion and a potentially lighter spring, pointing in my mind before I charge it that it might be easier to do so. Now this could all be completely wrong, right? I could be ending up eating crow at the end of this episode, but for me personally, it seems like it's easier to charge than the HDP. Let's go ahead and test that against both of these guys. I haven't put a cartridge in this in a year because I don't really like this gun for a number of reasons, which I'll go over in this episode. But let's see if it holds pressure, huh? Cartridge, piercing thing. No ammunition in this gun right now whatsoever, completely safe. Gave it the bump. Activation, no problem. I don't hear any hiss either, so if I gave this the squeeze, this would definitely alert my neighbors. Don't kid yourself. A CO2 pistol like this with no ammunition, dry firing, it's a stout report. Not like firearm level loud report, but it's definitely enough to piss people off at God's good early morning hours here. Cheers. See how easy or difficult, no, I've never done this before. It's completely the first time I've ever done this. It is to go ahead and charge the MUB. So look and see, yep, the piercing point is actually on this black valve itself. So you'll want to go ahead and round side first, cap side back, just like so. There's no ammunition in this either, 100% safe, 100% inert. I did definitely hear it do something CO2 wise here as far as that extra click, and now I've got a very stout trigger. I'm not gonna pull it just for shits and giggles, right? That's not how gun safety works. You don't pull the trigger to find out if it works, but I definitely do feel like this has a stronger initial trigger spring than it does with no CO2 in it. With no CO2 on it, it almost feels as if it has no trigger spring whatsoever. I think it's going to point to pretty good trigger performance on this as opposed to the heavy trigger of the HDP when we finally get this thing tested in the field. All in all, completely unbiased, having performed the same exact action on both of these pistols just now, I would say that there's absolutely no discernible difference as far as the ability to charge them. The difficulty, or in this case the ease therein as far as getting the CO2 cartridge active in both of these pistols, was equal. I'd say there's no clear victor here. Now, right out of the box, one thing that you're going to see leaves to be desired on the MUB is the fact that the Umarex has these really finely crafted, good-looking fiber optic sights. The MUB is just that standard front post with non-adjustable rear sight, and there's no color differentiation whatsoever. The fiber optics do work on the HDP, and it is a good feature. I've found that these glow fairly well in most conditions, and I thought this was a good design feature on the HDP itself. Moving down the road on the optics options here, we have a rail on the bottom of both of these guys, right? We have the HDP plastic rail here, and we have the slightly longer plastic as well rail on the MUB. Now this is where they really start to differentiate from each other. If I go ahead and put this great Vitatio optic, which incorporates both a flashlight and a laser into one small package, I'm going to actually be covering the point on this pistol where I load it. So as soon as I go ahead and add an optic to my HDP, I have to go ahead and remove that optic to go ahead and get ammo into the gun. Now for me personally, as someone who really enjoys an easily usable as well as reloadable package, this just seems counterintuitive. And it almost seems like the front rail was an afterthought as opposed to a good design feature like these fiber optics. Even though the MUB has the advantage of being magazine loaded, if you pull this small release right here on the magazine itself, it's going to apparently release all of the ammunition in the magazine. So you gotta be very, very, very careful not to go ahead and hit that small catch there. Having said that, this rail on the bottom is 100% functional because of the fact that this is a magazine fed pistol as opposed to just a mag well that you're dropping rounds into. This is actually a huge upgrade. What's the point, right? You don't have to go ahead and remove your optic every single time you reload the pistol, which puts you in the position of not having to re-zero your optics if you have something precision like a laser or even something like a saddle mount hollow sight. When you start to get into those multiple shots, it starts to make sense to have those reflex style optics. Now, because there is the added complexity of a magazine on this specific pistol, you're going to have to go through certain steps to go ahead and remove it from the pistol as well. It will not come out of this gun unless the pistol is on safe. Point blank. If the pistol is not on safe and you push it over to fire and then you hit the mag release, it will catch. Nothing will come out of the front of this mag well here. Pistol put back on safe, mag release hit. Oh, wrong button, that's a safety. Sit on save, good to go. It is spring loaded, so I mean if I don't catch this it'll fly on out of there. Pretty good design, honestly. Although I don't think it's a good idea to lock people out of removing the magazine when the gun is not safe. If you're in a position where you have a couple mags on you and you end up expending all of the ammunition in one magazine, it would be nice to have the ability to not have to go over to safe and keep the gun in the fight, slap a mag in it and get back on the target, right? Rule number one of Grandpa's gun is it's gotta work. I feel like this is one of those things that might prevent you from getting that gotta work type scenario in your defensive usage. It's not something that I would consider to be a deal breaker though. That small foible can be learned, can be worked around, and muscle memory is an incredible thing when it comes to stuff like this. If you train to be able to push this on safe real quick and then remove the magazine, you're gonna get quick at doing it. As far as this optic is concerned on this specific pistol, I do like the Vitattu compactness. I also like the Vitattu versatility with the strobe light, with the standard light, with the strobe laser, with the standard laser, all in one simple package. The one thing I do not like about this optic is this dumb proprietary magnetic only like special charging cable. If you lose this, you're you will not be able to find easily the correct cable on Amazon unless there's some new product out there I'm not aware of at the time of filming. And if you lose this for any reason, your expensive optic is now an expensive paperweight on your desk because you have no way to charge it. So I wish they had gone with something standard like a USB-C. Seems like everything right now is going to USB-C, so it would have been a good move in their development, but you know, who knows? I'm not these guys. I also think the one thing that can't be overlooked about the positivity of having a magazine in this pistol as opposed to just a magwell with a follower is when you have a magwell with a follower like this that's locked back for loading and then you release it after loading the pistol, you have the possibility of breaking paint. Breaking paint is a common term that paintball guys use when the paintball actually explodes in the breach of the marker as opposed to on your intended target, right? If that's a spicy airball, you have just collateral damaged yourself right on out of the fight potentially. I don't know if you guys have ever been around spicy air, but it's not just the target. It's not just like a pinpoint accurate point that's affected. Everything in that area gets a microdose. So if it goes off in your gun, you're probably getting it. Not the best design when it comes to going ahead and trying to defend yourself. If you have to go ahead and fight off an attack or while also trying to fight off the effects of police-grade pepper balls might not go as well for you. That's really where the magazine-fed design is going to absolutely differentiate itself and shine in those defensive situations. From what I remember, and I'll go ahead and throw it up on the screen for you guys as well, this holds 8 shots. This only holds 6 shots. There's 2 final points where I feel like the MUB really shines over its competitor, the HDP. The HDP looks like a toy. Anytime you give someone a defensive tool that has brightly oriented colors like this, it is going to automatically lose all intimidation factor. And if you're in a position where you have to brandish a gun that looks like a toy, you're probably going to have to use it. That was the main issue that I had with the Defender 2 being bright yellow. You pull a bright yellow gun out on somebody, you're gonna have to use that thing. And if you put, you know, 245 caliber slugs from a bright yellow gun on somebody, they're still graveyard dead, same as a 1911 that's all black. I'm telling you. These clown-colored guns, you guys think you're eliminating liability, but what you're really doing is forcing people to use them. This is a situation diffuser. I got big hands. Is it a gun? Ain't it a gun? You don't know. If you're on the business end of it, you might not see this piece down here. You might not realize you have a less lethal marker pointed at you. Best gun in a defensive situation is the one I don't have to use. I've literally warded off a home invasion with a rifle before, and I was shouldered up, and that fool melted like a candle with no shots fired. So ultimately, diffusing the situation rather than escalating it through a brightly colored toy, even if it's not a toy, is always going to be your best case scenario. Final thing I want to go ahead and bring up to the table is the fact that this is an adjustable power pistol. You're not going to be able to get any adjustment as far as power whatsoever without modifying internal parts on the HDP. The MUB-50, however, is absolutely tunable with the Allen wrenches provided from the factory. They 100% advertise it to be an adjustable pistol. It's not some aftermarket mod you're performing. This is from the factory. Anytime a multinational corporation goes ahead and backs a feature, you can pretty much guarantee yourself it's going to have at least out-of-the-box reliability. And I think that that's what a lot of people are really looking for with these. They may not shoot them every day, but when they do shoot them, they want them to work. Alright gentlemen, well I know I don't do a whole lot of less lethal stuff, but I hope you guys have actually enjoyed scratching the surface of both the HDP comparative to the MUB-50, as well as seeing some of the features that the MUB-50 brings to the table. These are both very capable in the right hands, and I can't say enough good things that I see off the top when it comes to the MUB-50 from Mercury Rise. Definitely go ahead and throw it down in the comment section what you would prefer to have on you in those defensive altercation situations. I think this would be a great place to go ahead and end today's video. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. You want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe for more with that notification button so that you can stay current on the channel.
Oh yeah, I'm off of Mercury Rise. He's funny. He is a blast.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed watching his stuff. I've learned a lot from him. I've learned a lot from MacBeast. But,
Covers a lot of topics that are usually missed by others. I mean, he's made an excellent point here that the way the law is now, it's far more dangerous. You're going to have far more fatalities than you would have had if you hadn't made every defender tip their hand.
And changing these laws out here in California would be so necessary. We need to
well, we tried to do it with votes and found out the hard way that Newsom cannot be kicked out.
Well, listen, mister, we're going on almost 2 hours. It's been fun. I wanted to get into this anti-robotic drone ammunition, or we'll do that. We'll do that this next time, most definitely. So, thank you again for coming on, Mystic. I want to thank DG Outdoors for coming on and sharing with us, and hanging out for a while. Maybe 98 was first to come in. We had American Anonymous come in, or Anonymous American. Sorry, my friend. And that was it. We had a couple other viewers. Thank you everybody for watching and joining in. And if next time, come on into the chat and enjoy the conversation with us and the exploration of air guns.
And Anonymous is so lucky to have neighbors like that.
What's that now?
And Anonymous is so lucky to have neighbors, nice neighbors.
Yeah. Having nice neighbors is important.
Friendly neighbors.
I drive mine.
I just met my neighbor. I just got a
must
new
drive
neighbor.
my neighbors crazy
Yep,
with my
just
air
met-
guns. But anyway, everybody, we're going to say goodnight. We're going to get off the air and close these electronic pub doors. So until next time, Mystic, you have yourself a good night, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Okay? All right, my friend.
Yep. Okay.
Great stream. Great stream, I think. I do believe this was one of the longest one for a while. But hey, everybody, I want to thank you for participating, watching. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. Become a subscriber to the Our Ranch A.G.F.C channel. Become on in the live streams and yeah, like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm get our videos and this live stream out there for more people to see and enjoy and just hang out with us. See what we're all about. We're all about our air guns. That's right. Oh. So yeah. Again, this is your boy Brian, my ranch A.G.F.C. We're signing off from another one. Y'all take care of yourselves. Remember, be good to one another. Be kind to one another. Love one another. And most definitely love yourself. So until next time, God bless you. And y'all know the rest.